Hello, this is David Mixner, and glad to be back chatting with you. Today, I'm going to give you my 5 favorite moments, memorable moments from Broadway. That was my cat. He's insisting that one of them be cats, but I'm here to tell you one of them is not cats. So have been going to Broadway for at least since the early 1970s, and so 50 years of attending Broadway shows. But these are not necessarily the best Broadway shows ever, but these are the ones that stick out in my memory for a particular reason. Feel free to add what your most memorable moments are on comment section or on the Facebook or comment section. And also, I just beg you to please subscribe. It's so helpful. The bigger my subscription service, the more that it helps me. And just push that subscribe button and also like button. Okay, let's start it. The first one I'm going to go with was in 1973. Yeah, right. And it was Moon for the Misbegotten by Jason Robards and Colleen Dewhurst. And it was one of the most amazing dramas I have ever seen on Broadway. It's when I fell in love with Broadway. The acting was like none I've ever seen, even to this day. They both were brilliant. I can't even begin to tell you how extraordinary it was. And I was sitting way up in the balcony, and I was leaned over in those tight seats, balcony seats, and I was in awe of the stage. It was just extraordinary acting. The second one, I'll go to 1975. And this one's very special for me for a number of reasons. It was the opening night of Chicago, the very first opening night on Broadway of Chicago, where Jerry Orbach and Gwen Verdon, directed by Bob Fosse. One of the things that made it so special that over the previous couple of years, I had become very close friends with Jerry and Marta Orbach, his then wife, and really spent a lot of time with them. And this was the first time that I got to see Jerry in a show, and it was special, and they treated me very special that night, and it was my first opening. And there's nothing like the first time, as you all know. And I was a part of a long and wonderful friendship with Jerry. In 1976, it was Shirley MacLaine at the Palace. This was Shirley's return to Broadway. And it was all her songs, her singing, her stuff from her past, dancing. It was a glittering night. And I got to walk the red carpet for the first time. And Shirley was a dear, beloved friend of mine from the 70s into the early 80s. Spent lots of time with her at her different homes, and we worked on a lot of political and movement stuff together. She was there for me when I needed someone to be there for me. And it was a night not to be forgotten. Every leading star on Broadway and in film and from her life was there that night. And the excitement you could cut. It was just one of those nights. Everyone was looking forward to it. You could cut the excitement with a butter knife. And it was an unforgettable evening. And she was amazing. It was absolutely a flawless appointment, production. Then I also want to go to 2017 when I saw Come From Afar. I'm one of those people that never will forget, and minute by minute, where I was on 9/11, the impact it had on my life for even to this day. I get choked up about it. And this musical, I've seen 4 times, and it was so healing. It's the first healing thing that I looked at that actually told me how good people were on that day, that there was a good side in that day, and that humanity responded to this horror in an extraordinary way. The music was wonderful, the acting was wonderful, the staging was simple, and it had a great emotional evening for me to see that. And even as many times as I have witnessed that play, I cannot forget it. Finally, I want to talk about not necessarily a brilliant musical, not necessarily an unforgettable evening, but for me it was. And it's called Hand to God. And I have never laughed more in a Broadway production than Hand to God. It was about a nasty puppet named Tyrone. And my friends still kid me. They say, okay, David, put your Tyrone side away. It was symphonic, it was funny, and at times I was the only one laughing in the theater because I have a very twisted sense of humor. And I went back 3 times to take friends. And I remember one time Steve Guy, my friend in Palm Springs, went together, and he has the same twisted humor. And it was such a relief to have him laugh with me at those parts where not many others were laughing. It was a classic Broadway experience for me of laughter and joy and whooping and hollering. And those are my 5 most memorable evenings. And like I said, I could probably come up with another list on what was the 5 best productions I ever saw, though some of those would be on the same list. But those are evenings that I will never forget for myself on Broadway. So click the subscribe button now. Don't let me down. Click it. And then the second thing, on Facebook, on here, leave comments. What are your most memorable moments on Broadway? Don't forget to buy your lotto ticket. It's up to $1 billion on Tuesday night. And love and peace to you all. Thank you very much.